Okay. So in the last session we have seen how we can do the important installations which are required to us, like the IDE, the Python language and Selenium itself. Right. Now, as I said yesterday that we are going to take Selenium and Python both parallelly. Some point of Python I'm going to talk about, but side by side we also will be doing the Selenium part. Right. Now, this was about just the simple print statements you can use in Python. This is very simple. You need not to put any extra semicolons or parentheses and all. Nothing you have to add on except for this curly bracket pair. Nothing else you need to do. The same way is the creation of a class and a function in Python as well. Right. So if I just make package, a new package to show you. Just a minute. Okay, so either you can make a function or either you can make a class. Function is nothing but a set of commands bounded in a boundary, in a particular scope. Right? How to make it, how to initialize it, that's simple. You need to use a keyword that is def followed by the name of your function. This is the creation of the function. Okay, so that's simple. The slashes are this. Def my function name, I will be keeping it as demo1 followed by a pair of followed by semicolon. That's it. Once you press enter, it's automatically going to take a space distance from the margin, a tab distance it's going to take. That denotes that you are under the area of a function. Once you come out of this area, once you go back to the margin space, you're out of that particular function. Right. Because in Python the spaces matters a lot. It's very strict about the blank spaces. That's why I'm telling you that why this space automatically has come, and if you go back what actually is going to happen. Right. In this function what you can do anything whatsoever you want, printing something, addition of some arguments, Selenium code, whatsoever you want, you can just simply do it. But once you go back to the margin place, you will be out of that function. Right. Now inside this, I'm just going to simply have a print statement and I'll just will have it as inside demo 1. That's what I need to do. Okay. When I have to use this function, now I have to use this function somewhere. So what I need to do is I need to call this function. Calling the function is easy. Just the name of your function needs to be taken, followed by a pair of parentheses, the curly bracket. It's automatically going to come. You don't have to exceptionally put it on. It will be done. Now if I run this particular file, a different configuration will be made for class demo, that is this file that I've just made. For this file, a different configuration has been made. And here is my output coming for my function that I have made. This way. Right. The same way is also the creation of the class. Creation of class is also done the same way, just the keyword is going to change. The spaces, the indent, everything is going to be the same. Just the keyword will be changed from def to class. Class followed by the name of your class, whichever you want to give. I want to give it the name as demo, and that's done. Followed by semicolon. Now you got that space. Inside this class you can make variables, you can make functions, simple print statements, whatsoever you want to do inside class you can easily do that. And if you're making some class, if you're making some variables or some functions inside, they will be called as the class variables and the class functions. right? So now if I just simply make a function inside this class, function creation is same with the keyword def followed by the name of your function. Now in here, when I have did the same thing that I've done above, and automatically a keyword has come up. This is a keyword, self keyword. Now why it has come? The self keyword is a keyword which automatically comes when you create some functions inside a class, and it helps you to use the class variables and class functions. Right? If I have two functions, then I can simply just say I'll make another function and then I'll show you. Right now, let's just have this completed. Print inside demo 2, and one more function I'm going to make, def demo 3. Again the self keyword comes. Right. Now how actually this self keyword works? I want to call this demo2 function inside my demo3 function. So what I can do is I can use the self keyword that comes automatically dot. Once I put dot, all the class variables and class functions are going to be displayed in the suggestion list over here, and I can simply use it without any issue. So I want to use demo2 function here, so that will come up over here and I will get the output. Just to differentiate that this output is coming from demo3, I'll just will have a blank space so that a little difference I can see. Okay, this way self keyword works, and you can simply just call another functions and variables over here. Now my class is made, my functions inside are made. What next I need to do is I just need to call this functions. I need to call these functions. So as we did above, we just take the name of the function and it came up. But right now the names are not coming. There is no such name by demo2 and demo3 functions that are coming up in the suggestion box. Why is it so? It is because the class functions and class variables are not outside. Yeah, we cannot say they are private because in Python the access specifiers are not basically that strict about their access specifier specified. It's just that they are not visible because they are inside the class. And until unless I will create a object for this class, I won't be able to access these functions that I have made. So first I have to make the object of my class. So I'll make the object, that's easy. I'll take the name of the class, and this is my object that has been made. That's simple. Now if I'll press dot, I got those two functions. Right. I can call any function now. Demo2, or I can say demo3. Right. So this is done. Now if I call this, now if I run this module, the shortcut to run your files is Shift F10, and this way it's going to come like that. Okay, clear. Now over here we have created an object. We have created an object, but actually there are two different objects created every time we are calling different functions, and they don't have any reference. Right now in the functions I am just having print statements, but might be in another times when we are working with that, in the functions I am storing some data, like I'm storing the marks of a student or the salary of an employer. At that time I'm storing something. But if I'm having an hanging object like this, right, because in Python this is the creation of an object. In Java it's something else, the syntax is something else, but in here this is the object creation. So there are two objects that has been created, that two are hanging. They don't have any reference. I cannot call them back. I will not be able to know which object is holding which functions information. I don't know about that. So what could I do? I can make the reference to these objects. What I can do is I can just simply say that let's say there is a variable d, and then I'm making the object. Now by this I have made an object of my demo class and I have made a reference to that object, that is d. Whenever I have to call this demo class, I will go on and I will use the reference d and I'll call the functions. Now one object is made and I'm using that only object, that only reference for the object to call the all the functions that I have made in the class. Right. This is the main difference, because Python is also an object oriented programming and people get confused that okay, this is also object creation, this is also object creation, this is an object, this d is an object. But no, it's an object reference, which is important to understand, because ahead Selenium is also based on the concept of object oriented programming only. If I have to use a class, I have to make an object, and I cannot make a hanging object for that. I will be making a reference so that I can use it in the whole module. Right. Now this was important. Yeah. Which one? I didn't get you. Can you just tell me the line numbers? See, in 16 what we have done, we have made an object, and by that object only we have called the function demo2 inside the class. Right. That object is a hanging object. If I again have to call the demo2 function, I again have to make an object. I again have to do this thing if I want to call the same function or another functions. So it will be again an object made. That means a class will have number of objects to call the functions or variables if we do this way. Plus it does not hold any information. I will not be able to get which object is holding what information. I will not be able to get that. Right. So that's why what we do is we made the object here also. This is also an object that has been made. But now what we have done is we have assigned that object. An object can have an address in the memory. That memory address, this variable that we have made, this is going to be pointed to that memory address. And when I again have to use the demo class, then I will not be making the function again. I'll not be making the object again. Instead, I will be using this reference d, which is already storing the address for object of the class. So I will be using it and I'll be calling the functions. That's the difference. Got that? Okay. This was important, that's why it was included in here in the second class. Likewise, there are many another topics about object oriented programming that all are given in detail in here in the course. You can just go over to this module, object oriented programming, and you will get all the single details in more detail. Okay. Now, coming back to our Selenium. So we have already seen how we can how we can install Selenium in our systems. We have seen that command and we have installed that into our systems as well. Now taking it ahead, the main role of Selenium, what actually Selenium is going to do. It's going to automate the browsers. Right. Which browser? It can automate any browser that you can think of. Google, Mozilla, Edge, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, any browser that you can think of. Right. So, for that, we need to open the browsers through Selenium command itself. Right. So, how to do that? Let's see that now. I'll be naming it as, let's say, browsers. very simple command is there to a one line command. You can say that there is one line command to open any browser through a class. We are going to use a class over here. What that class is, I'll show you as well so that you can go through the documentation. You can read about that class to get more familiar to it. Right. This is the official website of Selenium, the one place solution to all your questions. Over here, you need to go into downloads and scroll down a little. You will get a table like this. In Python part, there is API docs given. Just click on it, it will take you to the documentation. In here in the docs, here all the classes that we're going to use ahead, all the details are given up over here. Okay, now which class we are going to use, that's here in the last section, at the sorry, not in the last section, in here in the second last section. Okay, WebDriver, sorry, here, WebDriver.remote. That was for Safari, that specifically is for Safari browser, and the above one is another package which we are not going to use. We are going to use the remote packages. So I'll click on this and the detail of that class is going to open. This is the class we are going to use, WebDriver class, and if I'll scroll down, you will see functions over here listed, the functions which are inside this class, like add cookie, if you want to add cookie, and like that. But what we are concerned right now is to open a browser, right? So over here, that's not listed over here. Instead, I'll directly use it instead, because that's not coming up over here. Browser profile. Okay, that's not coming up over here because it's directly going to call the functions over here. So I'll just will use that and I'll show you. WebDriver class, first of all I have to make the object of my WebDriver class. Right, it's asking me to import it, so I have to import Selenium here. Here a list will be coming up. You can see the list which packages are here, from Android package, from BlackBerry, Chrome. Likewise packages are coming. You don't have to specify any package, you just need to install this package, that is selenium.webdriver. Once it's done, your WebDriver will be ready. Dot. Now dot. Over here these are the classes that are coming up over here for different browsers. Like if I want to open IE, this is the class for that. Edge, this is the class. Firefox, this is the class. Chrome, Opera, likewise. Whichever browser you want to open, that will start from the capital alphabet, because the same packages are also available down, but they are in lowercase. So don't get confused over here which one to use. You need to use the ones which have the first letter as capital. Now suppose I want to open up Firefox browser using Selenium. Right. I'll save this and I'll run this. You can see a blank Firefox browser has been opened by just that command. Simple. But if you'll do it in your system, likewise you run the same command, you might get an error. What error you might get? What error you might get, you will get over here. When you will come to this page after clicking the API docs, scroll down little, you will get the section of drivers. You may get this error, WebDriver exception. Why is it so? Because whenever we are opening some browser using the Selenium commands, they are not directly opened. There is a requirement. We need the driver of that particular browser provided by the browser provider so that Selenium can interact with it and open my browser itself. Right. So the browser's driver are important. How to download it, which to download it, which things we need to be careful about, that we are going to discuss now. Taking for taking the first browser as Chrome, I will be taking Chrome as first one. To download the driver for Chrome, you just need to make sure that the version of Chrome you are aware about. Right, you need to know which browser, which version of Chrome you're using, that you can check from help from these three dots, from these options. This is the version of Chrome that you will find over here. Right, now you know the Chrome browser version. What next you need to do is go back to the same site, selenium.dev. Okay. In here, there is a link given for Chrome. Click on this link and you will be routed to this kind of page. Now in on this page, all the versions of Chrome that are till now released, they all are available and their drivers are available. So as per your version, you can choose from here. Like over here, I had it as 87.0.4280. So I will be going to choose this one. Once I'll click this, I will get a page like this. According to the system configuration, you can just download the zip file. Right. Once the zip file is downloaded, you need to extract it and keep the exe at a folder. Like I have done over here. It's in my C drive. I have kept it after extraction in the WebDriver folder. This is the exe for Chrome, which is lying over here. Right, once you have done it, what you need to do is you just need to take the path of this driver from here and then now I'm going to use this WebDriver class a number of times. So I will be making an object for that so I can use it easily. So I'll say driver is equals to WebDriver. Right, then I need to open up the Chrome browser, so I'll say dot Chrome. I just have downloaded the exe in my system. I need to pass on the path so that Chrome can be opened by the Selenium. So over here, I will use a parameter executable path. It will automatically come. You don't have to type it all. Just type ex, it will come. And to this, you have to pass the path where you have kept that executable file for the driver. Right. So it's chrome driver dot exe dot exe. Right, it's done. I'll save this and I'll run this. A blank Chrome browser has opened. Okay, in case of Chrome, you need to be very careful about the versions. If you are using the driver which is one version older than the version you are using, it might not open. It will give you a session exception that your driver is not up to date or either your Chrome is not up to date. Right, so make sure that you download the correct version for Chrome. Okay, now moving back to the another browser, that is Firefox. Now Firefox is not that specific about the versions. Why is it so? That I'll tell you. I'll come back again to this browser again, to this page, and over here I'll open this link first and my default Firefox browser. So this is my default Firefox browser, and in here I will be taking a look at it. Automatically comes that my Firefox is not up to date. It's way too older than the current version of Firefox being running. Why I have done that? Because Chrome people are very fast. When they release a new version, the driver. Any issues? Now is it fine? Okay. So whenever Chrome version is released, the driver is also released at the same time. But when it comes to Firefox, the Firefox people are not that fast. They release the driver very late as compared to their version release. So because of that only, we make sure the driver that is available with us, according to that only we update our Firefox. Because in Chrome we don't have such option to stop the automatic updates. But in Firefox we do have an update. We have an option to stop the automatic update. I can just go on over here in the help, in the options, sorry, in the options, and in here I'll get a section of updates. This one, the Firefox updates. You can see over here, right now my version is 79 that I'm using, but it has been updated to 84. If I'll if I want to update my Firefox, I'll first check whether the driver is available or not. If it is not, then I'll wait for the driver, then only I will update my Firefox. Right. So you have to update the settings of Firefox that automatically if some update comes for the version, it does not get automatically updated. You can tell at least that when to update it. So choose this option, check for updates, but let you choose to install them. Okay. Now once this is done, then you can download the driver. How to download the driver? This link you need to use. We have opened it earlier. So here it comes. Here are the releases for the driver. These are the drivers for Firefox. They have named it as Gecko driver. The Firefox browser providers gave the driver name as Gecko driver as per their convenience. So according to your system configuration, you can get the zip file downloaded, extract it at the location where you have kept the driver for Chrome. Keep it at the same location. I'll tell you why. At the end, I'm going to tell you that. Right. So once it is done, likewise, I have it as here, Gecko driver. Right. Now I'm good to go with Firefox also. So I'll do the same thing and I'll just will go on and I'll say, uh, right now I'm just using this WebDriver directly. We'll make the object when we'll have to open the URLs at that time. But right now let this be Firefox. Again the same thing you have to do. Executable path, and you have to give the path of your Gecko driver, the driver that you have just downloaded, the path you have to give. So that will come up over here, Gecko driver. So this will also open a blank Firefox browser for you. Right, the same way that earlier Firefox opened, the same way it's going to open up. Right. Then comes up the Edge browser. Now the Edge browser has been updated to Chromium Edge. Right. It automatically has updated in all the systems. There might be very less people who have not been updated. The new icon of Edge looks like this. Right. So this is Chromium based. So whatsoever you're going to do, like with Chrome, the same kind of thing is going to happen in Edge as well. Edge is also very particular about the versions. So you need to first look for the version of Edge in your system first and then download the driver. So we'll open up the Edge browser and we'll look for the version, and then then we'll go to the download part. So here from this, go to help and feedback about Microsoft Edge. So this is the version of Microsoft Edge that is in my system. Like this, it's still updating, so might I'll get another version or something like that. So I'll just will wait. We'll let this be, let it download later on. So this is the version. So if I have to get the driver of Microsoft Edge, I'll again go back to the Selenium page, and here is the link for Edge browser. I'll get it opened, and here is the list of versions that are going to come up. Release 89, 88, 87. I had 87, right? I had 87.0664. So I will be going for this one, and I'll download the driver according to my system configuration from here. Again, a zip file will be given to me. I'll extract it, and after extraction I'll keep my executable file at the same location to open up the browser. To open the browser, the command is simple: webdriver.edge executable path. This is the path. Now for Edge, whenever you are going to download the driver and you have kept the release, kept the driver in the location, the name of the driver would be something else. It would not be Microsoft web driver like this. It might be like MS Edge driver, something like that name will be for the driver. You have to change the name of the driver to Microsoft web driver. You can see it like this, which word to be capital and which to be small. The same way you have to give it. There is a reason for that. I'll tell you what in some time. So you have to rename it and then you have to use it. So I'll just will go on. I'll copy the name from here and I'll just will put it in here in my code. So this is done. If I save this and I run this, my three browsers will be running at three browsers will be opening. So I'm closing the default browsers and I'm going to run my module. Chrome browser opened, then it will open the Firefox browser like this, and then it will open my Edge browser. Yeah, so this way the different browsers can be opened. But now the question comes up that every time when I have to open the browsers, do I have to give this executable path every time? No, you don't have to give it every time. What you can do for this is, we have kept all the drivers in a single folder in here, right? So what we can do is, we can simply add these drivers into my environment variables of the system, right? I can just simply go on, I can look for here to the environment variables here, and over here, like in the path variables over here, if I edit this, a list will come. In this only I can add that particular folder in which my drivers are lying, and I can add, like over here, this was my folder in which the drivers are lying, I'll add it, I'll click OK, click all the three OKs, otherwise you may not see the effect. Then what you need to do is remove the path from the command, I have removed the path from every command. Right. Now if I save this and I run this, the same way previously we have seen the browsers opening, the same way it's going to open. In the first time when you'll add the drivers in your environment variables, it might not immediately show you the effect. You may have to restart your system to apply the changes. If you face any issue like the executable path needs to be in place, if you get that error, then you just need to restart your system and then run your code. It will be working absolutely fine. Right. So it will open up in background. I'll not wait for that to open. Coming to the second thing that I said I'll tell you later is the reason to name the MS the Edge driver. If you have named it the earlier name like MS Edge WebDriver, which is the initial name of the driver, if you have that given, even if it is added in the environment variables, the command may not pick up the path. That has been done, that's practically also been seen. It does not pick up the path. You have to exceptionally give the MS Edge path, the driver of the path, and then only your edge is going to work. So what can be done is just rename your driver to Microsoft WebDriver and then just don't do anything, remove the path from your command and then it's going to work the same way this command is given, Microsoft.webdriver.edge. Okay, simple enough, right? Any questions, any doubts on this? Yeah. You can add another as well. Like if I give the command, I'm just going to comment all these for the time just to see the others being open. Let's say I want to open up the Opera driver, Opera browser. So I'll say webdriver.opera. I'll save it and I'll run it. Internet Explorer I'm not telling because it has been deprecated. It's not being used. See, it's very quick. It's not even open. There is version issue. You can see session not created. My driver that is in my system is not up to date as per the Opera version, because of which my browser could not open. This is exactly the same way you may get error on Chrome and Edge as well. So you need to update your uh, driver and then run. Am I audible to you? Is it clear now? Yeah. So I was saying that if my browser and driver version is mismatched or it's little older than the version being used, you may get this error, session not created, because of that incompatibility. Okay, so you just need not to worry about it. Update your driver and then it's going to work. Right? If I want to see and I want to open the Internet Explorer, so that also I can see, IE, I'll save it and I'll run it. A blank Internet Explorer window has opened over here. This way. Okay. Any questions, any doubts, you can just let me know. Yeah, this will be uploaded on YouTube. Okay. This also is going to be sent soon. It will be uploaded on YouTube only. You'll get a mail once it's uploaded. Then you can just go and watch it again. Okay. Still, if you face any issue, any questions, any doubts you face, you have it in your mind, everything that I'm talking about right now, they all are covered in here in the pre-recorded modules. You can watch them anytime, anytime. From here only it starts. From this, what is Selenium? From here it starts, and you can watch that anytime. Right? Okay. So this will be all for this session. Do practice this, and if you face any issue, you can put it on Query Resolution Forum. We'll be answering there, and then I'll see you in the next class. Okay? Thank you. Have a good day.